Hello and welcome back to another episode of Mystery Red Reads. I am your host, Mystery Red, and this is my disclaimer. This beta read Concrete is at the author's request. This video is for learning purposes. Today we're looking at a piece of original fiction. We are on chapter 18, section 3 of Infinite Shades by Crystal Committee. And you can view all of my reads for Crystal Committee under the playlist for them. All of my authors that are repeat authors who have public videos have their own playlists, both for their convenience of finding their video and for you to follow along the story from the beginning. Some authors I have read for multiple pieces, and I also do private reads. So if you're new here, welcome. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you should feel so inclined. And do not be shy about asking for a read. I do public and private reads. All you have to do is reach out to me and we can work something out. First chapters are always free. All right, with that, we are going to dive in here. We are on section 3, and this pink highlight is where I left off. We're going to just take that off and get started. The doors to the elevator open, and two well-built men stand with their hands on their firearms, buds in their ears. Okay, I'm going to pause. So they're standing there with their hands on their firearms. I got it. Buds in their ears? Is that like... I'm literally picturing earbuds, but because I just pictured hands on the firearms, I don't think we need both. I mean, if we do, we probably want a comma because my brain was trying to link firearms and buds and figure out what that was. I knew what a firearm was, and I knew what a bud is and is an earbud, because here we have ears. But I kind of needed a comma here or something to separate the two different, because you got hands to gun, and then you've got buds in the ears, but there's no pause. So my brain just kind of was trying to connect the two, and I immediately knew that wasn't right, and then I figured it out. But it did give me pause, and therefore I'm mentioning it. So I'm just going to highlight this. The scampering sound in the back is my bunny. Hopefully it's not too terribly loud and distracting. She is playing with a squishmallow. Okay, let's see. Using in video. And on that note, we're going to keep going. Agent Clemens, yes. If you could come with us, please. The one to her right steps forward, reaching for her elbow. I know the way. Keep it professional, and I'll avoid the scene and pulling rank. She ensures her hand makes contact with his clothing. A little touch here, a little data there. Thanks for the access. Is this like what Saul Alinsky said? Power is not only what you have, but what the enemy thinks you have? Okay, I'm going to pause. Okay, so I'm questioning my punctuation. Okay, so we've got a period here. We have an end, and then we have a quote. All right. And it's a question. The punctuation just seems like it's hanging out there on its own because we have a period here that ends it. I would almost take that out and leave it. I know that they're asking a question here, but I think either the punctuation needs to be a period or a question mark. So if you still want the question mark, I would suggest swapping out the period for the question mark. Yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. And I'm just going to say using in video. All right. Politics 101, my committee friends. It is. Yes, ma'am, the other guard agrees with a nod that implies she should follow. Sam adjusts her jacket, glaring at the one who had attempted to manhandle her. He is not of those listed as familiar. Aware, let me toy for a bit, see what it gains us. Oh my goodness, hang on. Oh, I forgot to set my timer. We are 4 minutes in. We're going to go for 27. Okay. Sorry, I've got 4 reads to get in today, and I'm over a week behind because life happened last week. Okay, back we are. They move down the hallway through a set of double doors, another long corridor, then descend a couple of flights of stairs. She ensures her hand grazes along the handrail. Your movements are deliberate and calculated, yet appear benign. The chemical Amanda provided you, and you didn't ask questions. If there's a plot afoot, what better way than to let her trust me with something, and I, in turn? This is a test. Yes, on multiple fronts, but not you, the committee collectively. A soldier acting on orders is loyal, but does not have information. I'm poking the command structure. The lead guard taps his badge against a magnetic plate on the wall. The door buzzes and unlatches. He holds it open for her and the second guard to pass through. Once inside, she is pointed toward the metal detector. You know the drill, Miss Clemens. Agent. Yes, I do. I'm leaving that. I think sometimes when we talk, that's how we talk, and so I'm just going to leave it. Sam takes out her cell phone, gun, and badge, car keys, hand sanitizer, and wallet, removes her watch, and drops them into the tray. Inventory check. Every piece matters. Always know what you carry and what you leave behind. She steps through the detector. One guard sifts through her wallet, gives a quick glance over her gun and badge, then hands them back, setting her phone, keys, sanitizer, and watch aside. No electronics inside. But armed is okay? I see where the priorities are. Sam rolls her eyes. Door number 1, 2, or do I get the pleasure of my favorite, 3? You've obviously been here before, the unfamiliar guard notes. Clemens is a frequent flyer, the other, with more manners, replies. Apparently not enough to have garnered the name of my escorts. She glances between them. Names have power, Sam. Their names and backgrounds are made up, somewhat based in truth, but these men do not exist in reality. To query on them is to draw attention that is unwarranted. I know by sight, smell, tells, and emotions. Their comfort is their anonymity, myself excluded. To poke at it draws unnecessary attention. Maybe that's why I keep coming by, setting off the alarms. So I can have the honor of your company, if only for a brief moment. Sam flutters her eyes in mock affection. Yes, ma'am, the guard says, giving her a half smile, but not budging. I'm wondering about this up here. It flagged it, and I kind of thought maybe a comma, but kind of their comfort is their anonymity, myself excluded. Maybe a comma here. I wonder if it would stop. Yeah, that did kind of resolve it. It already noted it over here, so I'm just going to keep going. All right, it was distracting me. Okay. Him, we understand. But the other? Come on, give me something. Don't know, I'm assessing. The lady's choice. The third, please. He gestures to the door. As Sam opens it, the translucent film on her hand transfers to the handle, drying and disappearing. She steps inside. A single table, a chair on each side, a video camera in the corner. She sits, leans back, kicks her feet up, getting comfortable just as the newer guard closes the door. Okay, so she sits, leans back, kicks her feet up. I almost don't think you need to say that she's getting comfortable because you've shown me that she's getting comfortable through her actions. So that's just food for thought. I'll just assume using some video and we'll keep rolling. All right. A few minutes pass before the door opens. A man in his mid-30s enters, clean-cut, deliberate. He slides Sam's belongings across the table, adjusts his suit, and sits. Agent Clemens. Dresner. Sam lowers her chair. I think we need a space right there. Checking her watch for damage before slipping it back on her wrist. This is where you apologize for breaking security? No. This is the acknowledgement. Why is it flagging? Got a spelling. Okay. If I had a nickel for every just doing my job, I'd be as rich as Amanda. Same old story and song and dance. I almost think maybe we could do same old story, comma, song and dance. But if you like it better this way, I think that's fine too. It's probably a personal opinion. Reminds me of the Nuremberg defense. Just following orders. Dresner rests back in his chair and fiddles with his cufflinks. Will I receive an honest answer if I inquire as to your presence here? It's that big white sword I carry, so yes. Sam gives a half smirk. My hand sanitizer? Being analyzed. She rolls her eyes. There we go. Okay, whatever. She rolls her eyes. Okay, so we have an echo on her action. We're just going to highlight it in yellow because they're right beside each other in the same line. 2 reasons. The first was to speak with Rita, a mutual friend I was trying to track down. Dr. Rayburn? Yes. You could have called. Why the personal visit? Dresner probes. I'm more of a hands-on, face-to-face type. Besides, my second reason was more covert. I needed to see Amanda's records unaltered and without interpretation. Why is that? Since I've been back, it's obvious to me that she hasn't been telling me the truth about her health. I'm concerned, not just as her best friend and roommate, but professionally. The system exists for a reason. You could have gone through official channels. Sam snorts. Have you met Amanda? Like, actually met her in person? You know he hasn't. You're playing on his lack of knowledge. One might say it's a gauge. Who's he more focused on? See right there how he's sizing me up? His fingers twitch before settling, a brief flicker in his gaze, calculating, weighing his answer. His jaw shifts just a fraction, like he's biting back an instinct to react. These are things my eyes, as a normal, can perceive and interpret without you and the emotional read. It's a bonus. But he seems to be emotionally void, or are we misreading this? There is something there I can't get to. Maybe you'll figure it out. Dresner meets her eyes. I see. I had to find out which doctor she saw first. Even then, I'd be at the mercy of interpretation and cover-your-ass protective rhetoric. I asked Rita for referrals, an experienced and trusted opinion. The records were right there, and I had approval to view them, so I did. Is there some fault to be had in that? If that's all you looked at, it would be against the law to look at others. If you're as good at your job as I suspect you are, you checked and no, I didn't. But I understand you had to assume the worst. Why do you give him the option to question your motives? Wait for it. There it is, his non-answer. I'll leave you to categorize that by color or flavors. It's not what they say, but what they don't. That's the gift I have with you in tow. Dresner laces his fingers. Care to share what you discovered? That information is protected under the law, but Sam lets the words drag, lowering her head, pretending it's difficult to say. Prognosis isn't a positive one. Sorry to hear that. She raises her eyes to meet his. You see the truth and the altered, so don't pretend to be surprised. Confrontation is not advised. We don't know enough about this man. I was here at the start. In fact, I designed most of the protocols you follow. Dresner gives her a doubtful squint. Then why are you sitting here? Because no one should ever be beyond suspicion. Learn that lesson the hard way. Sam opens her arms to include the hospital. Here, in fact, I don't like the taste of defeat. My goodness, my bunny is being so loud. She has thrown a fit, and I don't even know why. What are you mad about? Okay, I think she's settled down a little bit. She grabbed another stuffed animal off my couch. I decorate with little Eastery type chickens and bunnies and ducks and things like that, and she has grabbed multiple ones off the couch. And then she is harassing my cat. So if anyone thinks that bunnies are boring, let me just tell you they are basically vegetarian cats, and we will carry on. And he has let her out. Okay. She raises her eyes to meet his. You see the truth and the altered, so don't pretend to be surprised. Confrontation is not advised. We don't know enough about this man. I was here at the start. In fact, I designed most of the protocols you follow. Dresner gives her a doubtful squint. Then why are you sitting here? Because no one should ever be beyond suspicion. Learn that lesson the hard way. Sam opens her arms to include the hospital. Here, in fact, I don't like the taste of defeat. You're suggesting you were testing us? Not my main reason. Can't get your attention unless I garner it, she smirks. And now that you have it, a courtesy heads up. I'm back in town, and the trouble that is your job security will follow. Okay, I'm pausing. So this is the second time she started a sentence with and in dialogue. While I let the first one go, I don't know how often I would do it. And so I'm going to highlight it just to bring your attention to keep an eye out for it. It may be nothing, but it may also present something like a pattern that we might see develop. And I wouldn't want that. Where did we find the first one? And this is why I kick myself when I don't mark something the first time I see it, because then I'm like, okay, we need to go back, and unless that's the only. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to pick a different color because I see we have other things in that color, and I don't want to be confusing. So I'm marking it just in case it pops up again. Like if it, I wouldn't do it repeatedly. I think once, every now and then is okay. 2 is probably okay, but I'm marking it now in case it becomes a pattern. It'll help us identify it. So it's very simple to remove if we don't need it. Okay, that sounds egotistical and narcissistic, Agent Clemens. Sounds, she gives a half smile. You haven't read my file. Dresner's mouth ticks in amusement. we have an extra space there? We do. Okay. I have, and that of your, how you define as roommates. He again meets her eyes. Don't take the bait. You don't need to share. Please don't share. It opens too many doors. He's probing, and it will land on, as you call them, records. Is there something here to be afraid of? I see him as capable of stepping toe-to-toe with a mastermind. He knows my memory and wants to prove it's non-viable. I really do want to mess with him. Dresner lowers his head. One final consideration. Dr. Rayburn, his nurse, any staff who attended you or Severin, he lets the names linger. I'd recommend space. He doesn't have all the information. We recommend you throw him a challenge. Sam tilts her head. Targeted. That good enough? It is easier if assets don't intermingle. Dresner lowers his eyes. Attack his chosen words. Lean into it. Put him on edge. I'm actually going to lean into that. Sam places both of her hands on the table before her and gazes at Dresner. Any new assets I should be aware of? Section 4. Are you implying there's been a breach? Dresner's tone is neutral. She notes the hidden defensiveness buried deep beneath his controlled exterior. Defensiveness has betrayed more secrets than any confession ever could. I hear all of you and appreciate it. I wasn't, but since you brought it up, Sam raises a questioning eyebrow. Dresner meets her eyes, unmoved, unrushed. Silence stretches, but it isn't awkward. Sam recognizes the calculation behind it. Silence is pressure. Let him sweat. No word was ever as effective as a rightly timed pause. She senses him cycling through a sequence of carefully contained emotions, starting with admiration, shifting to mild agitation as she refuses to continue. Fortitude hardens his posture, a refusal to surrender. Then respect, begrudging but real. The final as he weighs whether speaking would violate orders. You're good, I'll give you that, she chuckles. Outlasted your predecessor. Is that the measure? Endurance, Dresner asks. Another silence settles, but this time it's a contest. I think we want it. It is a contest. I would just put it's a contest. There we go. Sam gathers his feelings of both defeat and success mingle with quiet confusion. Sam gathers his feelings of both defeat and success mingling with quiet confusion. Mingling as? Okay. So here's the thing. Let me read this. Sam gathers his feelings of both defeat and success mingle with quiet confusion. It's something's reading off about it. Like I'm missing something. And I keep wanting to put success as, okay. Sam gathers his feelings of both defeat and success mingling with quiet confusion, or as they mingle with quiet confusion. I'm needing some kind of something between success and mingle. It's like as success mingles with quiet confusion, or anyway, I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to say musings in video so that you can kind of see what it is. I've said it 3 different ways, and so that might help share with you what it is that I feel like is missing, or what my brain is wanting. Dresner breaks the quiet. Care to share? What do you think? Sam retorts. What I think is irrelevant. On the contrary. Dresner's voice is even. I think we have an extra space in there too. I was told you were good. I prefer to decide for myself. Aw, flattery will get you everywhere. Acknowledgement is leverage. How many times have you played them while they thought they were playing you? That's not what you come to on your own accord. Sam detects his attempted ruse. Maybe. Or is it that you doubt someone of my age and experience would require such a warning label? Could be. It's not a concession, but continue with this, Sam. It's a hard hurdle for many people to get over. I'm safe when handled properly. Deadly when not? Could be. Sam moves her eyes upwards and holds them there. I suggest you're trying to formulate your own opinions, not letting your biases, whatever they may be, cloud your assessment of me. That's what any professional should do. Should? Yes. In practice, no. Your predecessor had a chip on his shoulder when it came to Amanda and me. Made it a difficult, frustrating, and at times painful process to work with. Understandable, given that I've heard of your encounters. Yet you feel I'm different. Yeah, careful not to give him too much. You threw up the caution flags. Dresner folds his hands in front of him. What did you mean when you suggested I lasted longer? It's kind of a thing I do with individuals in positions such as yours, she shrugs. See how long it is before they have that second thought about their orders and how they may or may not apply to the current situation. You got your answer from me. The question is how. You won't respond, will you? A long silence hangs between them. I asked not what the answer was, but the process you used to obtain it. Yeah? Fill in the blanks on that for me. Oh, I wish I could. Just wish you are and what you can do, he offers. Wait, just who you are and what you can do, he offers. Say it with the right tone. It's the truth, but you know more. Yes, I can work with that. Our suggestion is to point out how failed in this interview. How I failed? Something's missing here too, but I'm not going to presume what it is. I'm just going to say I'm using in video, and you can kind of see there's a word missing, I think, in between how and failed. I don't know, it's who failed here. I'm a little confused. I'm confused because something's missing. Our suggestion is to point out how failed in this interview. So can I? And the trigger, and there it is again. I'm just going to highlight it for you. I'm not suggesting that you remove all of them. I'm just pointing out to make sure that we don't have a pattern, sparingly as best. We're going to keep going. Was offering the word breach and our end when I asked for new assets or liabilities. Was offering the words breach. I think it does want to be plural. The words breach and our end when I asked for new assets or liabilities. Dresner exhales. Would you elaborate? Breach implies a crack, a break, something slipping through. Sam tilts her head. Our end. That was the interesting part, framing it like we're on different sides. That and your tone. Okay, and I could have avoided that by, in all fairness, you wouldn't have. You'd have led me there one way or another. It's that mastermind manipulative quality of mine, Sam says. Confidence keeps them off balance. You're so in vain by Carly Simon, the 1972 version before your fabricated birth. And it plays in Sam's mind. So not fair. I kind of want this up here with this because it's specifically directed about the song. Like that's specifically referring to the song. And so I feel like it's still part of this thought up here. And then I'm questioning, did I cover up we have a beginning quotation marks, but I don't see ending ones unless I accidentally covered them up with my little paragraph suggestion. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, carrying on. We mean no offense. While your music choices are wide and vast, they can be construed to many meanings when out of context. I like your qualification there. Are you nudging me to the good old classical stuff? Orchestras and whatnot without lyrics? We can inspire, but poetry adds, as does the video element. We have analyzed many of your modern movies. It cannot be told in word alone or sound the visuals, but a combination of. We can inflict our lives upon you in physical form. That was not our intent. A byproduct? Yes. The majority prefers the use of music that you know and have relations to. This just got complicated. Section 5. I see why my predecessor found you difficult. Uncooperative? Let them underestimate you. Well-behaved women seldom make history, like Rosa Parks, defiance with purpose. Sure, Sam snickers. Dresner leans back with a smug smile. Or was it because you were smarter than he was and pointed it out at every opportunity? Not every, but the majority, Sam chuckles. I like you, Dresner. You're a much better fit for this position. Don't placate the man. What are you doing? My job, with your help. I'm the method and the means. You're being all spy guy on it. Can you do it? Yes. He's going to work into my good graces, like a duke to a queen who had the real power. I'm wondering if that could be holding the real power or holding the power. I'm not sure. It could also be just fine. I'm trying to figure out had real. Let me read it the way they suggested, although I don't know that I agree with it. He's going to work into my good graces, like a duke to a queen who had real power. Yeah, Actually, I do agree with that. I think it read better. We're going to check you on that statement. Okay, now I tripped on that because we have like 3 connecting type words in consecutively, and my brain wanted to reorganize them to the most common way that they're paired together, which would be check on. So that's why I tripped over that. Let me try to read it again. We're going to check you on that statement. Factually true, but the whitewashing, as you call it. If he thanks you, be weary, but we are on it. Do not fear. Dresner smiles. Thank you. The other reason behind your heads-up courtesy visit, other than to ensure Amanda's records haven't been tampered with or assessed? He called her Amanda. Not his place or right. Call him on it. Are you defending her now? They are putting limits on what is the truth. We know why this information is not shared. No matter how you answer it is a violation. That sucks. Nice assumption. It's not an assumption. Dresner folds his hands, tilting his head. I think we have a gap between our comma and our letter. If attention was the goal, you could have walked in and waved. You're not looking. You're leading. Steering us somewhere without leaving footprints. So tell me, why not just say where? More and more like being granted by the second. That was a nice lie. Ditto, Dresner returns. So? He just did that. He, actually did that. Trying to play me. Dude needs a... Oh, I need to drop a crumb. I am concerned about Amanda's health, and she isn't telling me the whole truth. You mentioned that. There have to be as many, if not more, falsehoods in those records. We're aware of that. So you don't need a cover story. Any results you obtained wouldn't justify the risk. Besides, you went to Dr. Rayburn's nurse, not the records department. Less formal of a request, fewer prying eyes. Reasonable that I'd stop in and say hello. She is a friend, after all. Those prying eyes, you want them to know you came here, looked, and then what? Walked out empty-handed? Would you allow me to leave any other way? Funny how the illusion of choice works. No. We have some font. There we go. Then yes, that was my plan. There is more to it. Dresner's tone doesn't change, but Sam senses the subtle shift. In the spirit of cooperation, sleight of hand. And while one has their attention, what is the other doing? What are they not seeing? Now see, I would keep this but just so you can keep track of how many times you used it in dialogue, I'm going to highlight it, but I would keep this use of it. Something I will not say, show, or write in any other way than to let you know I'm looking for it. Loose lips sink ships, remember that. Power lies in what you withhold, not what you share. Vague. Has to be if there's any chance of finding it. Dresner nods. Okay, and how can I be of assistance? He could just as easily say how, but I'm just going to highlight it so you can get an overview really quickly of how many times you use it in dialogue at the beginning of a sentence. Doing what you would normally do. Watch the tapes, follow my movements, and look at every data packet that moved from Rita's computer, the servers, and other devices in this place from the moment I entered until I walk out the door. If you're feeling thorough, before and after. He adjusts the cuff of his sleeve. I won't find anything. He pauses. Aw, that's got him thinking. Bait laid. Let's see who bites. Nothing like a little cat and mouse to keep the day interesting. Dresner continues. If your thing is here, you're betting they, whoever they might be, will check to see if you or we found it, thus giving you its location. Or the curiosity will expose them to enough to imply they're still looking. Curiosity is often the kitty's downfall. He exhales. Pardon my fiend ignorance, but why the two of you? Why here? As he qualified when he didn't need to. Should I help him out? Why all the resources, the secrecy? Our opinion he is best served to have a general idea. What is it we're safeguarding and how are you involved? Long story short, which you've been read in on, a suspected bioterrorist attempt believed to have been thwarted a few years ago. Lots of good people died. Then, just as quickly as it appeared, it disappeared. It ran its course, but the source was never discovered. The threat is still out there. We landed in the center of it all. Some believed purposeful, others wrong place at the wrong time. Either way, we survived, mostly unaffected, which is valuable to both sides of the coin. I'm going to highlight all of this to either recreate whatever was at its source or to protect against it. I'm stopping myself, even though I'm wanting to keep going. None of this has any kind of action, and I kind of got lost on who was speaking. All right, gonna keep going. Yep, we provided everything that was asked of us. I was a quadriplegic, Amanda a smashed up mess, and neither of us could object to all the samples and tests. This was acceptable. We wanted to help. Then it turned into a race. Our blood, test results, and DNA became commodities to be bought, sold, and fought over. Corporate government, black market, everyone had an interest. I am aware of some of this. Sam nods. Before it spiraled too far out of control, measures were taken to protect us, our lives recreated. Everything is monitored by a handful of people. This hospital is watched like a nuclear facility because it wasn't just at the center of a bioterror attack. It was the suspected cause of the blackout that took out the city for weeks. Related or not, unknown. But until it is, you and your merry men are here to make sure it doesn't happen again, or that if it does, the right people get answers. She tilts her head, offering a taunting smile. Nutshell enough for you? You're keeping up appearances, verifying the sentries are on duty, while checking the rearview mirror to see who might be following. Nice analogy, and yes, this is one of those checks. She waits, sensing more is on his mind. You want to know why we didn't run? Get as far away from here as possible? It'd be the obvious choice, and you're anything but obvious, unless it's by design. Yeah, I'll give you that one. She pushes up from the table. I'd love to stay and chat, but I have a new job to get to. That is, if there's nothing else, and I'm free to go. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more. Dresner stands and reaches for the door handle. No, you're free to go. If I need to get in touch, Sam smirks. I'm sure you'll think of something. Interesting conversation. I don't know that she really garnered any information from it, though. Like, it doesn't seem like she got anything. I mean, of course, I was waiting to see if she got her hands on Amanda's file and her information and to see what it said. And I'm wondering if she'll get any answers. I don't know. She kind of toyed with him back and forth, and then she tells him she liked him, but she didn't. At no point did she really trust him. I'm a little bit about this. Yeah. Okay. The dialogue's always good. Let's see. You were right with about the time frame you thought for breaking up sections 1 through 3 and then 3 through 5. It did hit right at 30 minutes, so that was a good timing there for that break. Okay, guys, that's it for this episode of Mystery Red Reads. I will see you guys next time.